What's going on, YouTube? It's Big Brother 749 coming back at you with another video. I'm going to talk about the debate that just went on between Biden and Trump a couple weeks ago on CNN. It was a very interesting debate. Everyone's been talking about it the whole entire week, saying how President Biden kind of stumbled and didn't do too well in the debate. He was forgetting words and wasn't sure what he was saying. And it's even gotten to where Barack Obama had released a statement to where he said in his own words, bad debate nights happen, trust me, I know. Because Biden was saying things like, we beat Medicare and other things that didn't even make sense. And there was an interview he did with ABC where he supposedly jumbled some words. And we all know Biden's an elderly man. He's old and have trouble remembering things. And nothing might have been wrong with Biden that night of the debate. Maybe he just got a little nervous or whatever and felt a little stage fright. Which is why Barack Obama said, bad debate nights happen, trust me, I know. And I believe they do, because I understand that even politicians get nervous. And just the thought of them being on live television in front of the whole country from both parties, watching them and depending on them to crush their opponent to where they're being forced not to mess up, that could be nerve-wracking. And I do believe that's what it was, because I remember how Obama seemed sort of nervous during his first presidential debate with Mitt Romney. He wasn't as bad as Biden, but he did seem kind of timid a little bit, because after that debate, there were Democratic voters back then that was wondering, yo, what's up with Obama? He acted like a coward. Why was he acting so scared? And because of Biden's recent performance in the debate, there's been a lot of Democratic voters who are too embarrassed and might try to change the nominee. And because if they go with Biden, he may not win because of his mental state. And it's gotten to where even the Democratic congressman from Texas, Lloyd Doggett, is even calling for Biden to step down and drop out of the 2024 race. And it seemed like that debate worked in Trump's favor, since he's leading Biden nationwide, especially in swing states, according to what I saw on CBS News Post the other day. And I think Trump and Biden have one more debate in September. They agreed to do it. And let's just say if President Joe Biden happens to stay in the presidential race, his performance last Thursday still isn't a good reason to vote for Trump. And despite his mental state, it's possible that Biden could still beat Trump in November. We need to focus more on what he's done for the country instead of how he's done in that debate. And I just want to explain, why he should stay in office, and that's basically what this video is going to be about. Now, to be honest, I think Biden is good for this election, but the thing is, I do worry about him not making it for another 4 years. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but that's just how I feel. But one thing I do know is that the Democrats will win this election no matter who they put up front. But I still think it's wise for Biden to stay in this race, since he's a president we already know, more so than a new candidate that we don't know nothing about. Like, they would have to leave their place of residence and campaign in major cities throughout the whole entire country and organize everything in just 3 months, which is too much. So that's one reason why I feel Biden should stay in the White House. And when it comes to that debate, I know Biden kind of screwed up and didn't do too well. And of course, we all want a younger person for president. But with Joe Biden, it's like, it's not like he's been ill throughout his whole first term and wasn't able to get anything done. Biden's been pretty active and energetic for his age, getting stuff done. Yet it was just that one bad performance that got people. But he came back with the energy, like he just did a rally like the night after that debate in North Carolina, campaigning. And I know he probably felt like an idiot, regretting his performance in Thursday's debate. But he's going to bounce back. You just got to give him time, give him a chance. We elected Joe Biden knowing he has dementia, and he hasn't let us down these 4 years. Yet it was just that one performance that got everybody changing their tune against him. And we talk about Biden being old, but Trump is old too. Trump's going to be Biden's age in 3 years, but Trump doesn't have like mental disorder like Biden, but in a way, Trump does appear to be mentally challenged. But despite Biden's performance that night, he actually made some valid points in the presidential debate, and he basically won, really, because despite of his performance, Biden told the truth, and he still made some good points. And everybody was worried about Biden. I'm like, shit, there's no use of being worried about it. When Trump lied all freaking night, because I'm like, you're gonna have a liar or somebody who may be a little old or something. I mean, some say Biden had a cold, and I believe that could have been possible too. I don't know, but Trump's a liar, and why is he even in this position to compete? Because Biden should be up there at 60, 70, or 80%, while Trump should be at 20%. But see, Democrats panic. But like I always said, Trump stresses people out. Republicans are stressing that he's going to lose, and Democrats stressing he's going to win. So it stresses everybody out, because you might see him at a rally and they're cheering for him and all that shit, but they're nervous as hell that they might lose again. And Democrats are afraid he's going to win again. So it's like he keeps everybody on edge, especially his Republican supporters. And that's just what you see on TV right now. It's just his supporters. They're more loud and vocal than ever. And everybody's paying attention to Trump every day. And it seems like he's out there and he's allowing all this to go on. And when it comes to voting, there's also a lot of black people out there who may not be as enthusiastic about Joe Biden right now. But it's like, you're going to choose Trump or you ain't going to vote at all. That's their only choice. And these right-wing Negroes, they need to quit that. And a lot of these Mexicans who support Trump, they also freaking stupid, because that's basically showing us that they're really not in tune to what's going on, even though he's played on screwing their people and they're still for him. But because you got Negroes, who's for Trump, and you got Hispanics who's for Trump. But it's like, both of y'all got to realize that this man may talk a lot of shit, but he don't give a damn about you or your people. And Trump got them thinking that Biden is causing inflation and allowing illegal immigrants to flood the U.S., taking what he calls black jobs and Hispanic jobs, which is one of those things where I get what he was saying, but it was still something that shouldn't have been said. Like, the way he addressed that, it was basically like a dig, generalizing and stereotyping black and Hispanic people, thinking low-wage manual labor jobs are the only jobs they can get and they can do. And I mean, there have been minorities who did them type of jobs, since black people back then actually used to take them jobs and no white man wanted. And just a few months ago, Trump did say something about them building his houses, trying to take it back to the good old days, as he seems to do, or as he calls it. But just because it's only been minorities who did those type of jobs doesn't mean that they're just limited to black and Mexican folks. He was just trying to divide races when he should have just said American jobs. And now, first off, far as the illegals, Biden's not letting illegals in. He doesn't have an open border policy. He deported more illegals than any other president in history. And those thousands of migrants that were down in Chicago and New York were not illegals. They were bused by those Republican governors, Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis, down to sanctuary cities, just so those two could damage Joe Biden's chances of getting reelected and put more pressure on that mayor, Brandon Johnson, making him look bad. And they were called illegals, but if they were illegal, then why wasn't they sent back to the Mexican border? Why were they transported to U.S. cities? And, things like that you got to think about. And Governor Abbott wouldn't have needed to spend money to ship them all over the country if they were illegal. And not every immigrant is illegal, because anytime you got an immigrant down here in the States who's looking for work under a solemn request or visa, they're not illegal. And yeah, we do have illegal immigrants here in the U.S., but they're snuck their way in, and Biden's not letting them in. And think about it. If Biden, as the president of the United States, was letting illegals in, that would make them legal, right? Plus, Trump blocked a bipartisan immigration bill because he wanted to create problems for Biden and don't give a shit if he create problems for the rest of the country. But that black jobs remark that Trump made stirred some controversy, since it was offensive to single out black people or Mexican people. And a lot of people don't want to work those type of jobs, which is why the immigrants take them, because there's a lot of unemployed blacks as well as whites who prefer other jobs that's not manual laborers. And it'll get to the point where they can't find any other job, and they'll give up and don't want to help themselves. And sometimes the government knows that, because when the immigrants come, they want to come for work. You got people on the street living under the viaduct where the last thing they want to do is work. So it's like these folks just want to be homeless and ain't even trying to help themselves. But these immigrants want to work. They prove they want to work. They're down at restaurants and stuff like that, to where folks are like, man, I ain't working for no fucking $6 an hour. But immigrants would take those type of jobs. And like I said, black people used to take those type of jobs that no white man wanted. That's just like, for example, down here in Louisville, we got Churchill Downs. And back as early as the early 70s, well, all through the 70s, really, because my uncle, he used to work and travel the horses, like down at the park, walking them and grooming them and brushing them down and stuff like that. But Mexicans do that now, and that's all you see is Mexicans. They took that job that a black man had in the horse race who used to do that shit. And it's not because it's a Mexican job or a black job. It's because blacks and whites and just people in general don't want to do that. And the immigrants who come down here do. And sometimes you have groomers, you know, where you get paid to walk the horse, feed them, brush them, and wash them and stuff like that. Now it's Mexicans' jobs now. You know, Mexicans took that job to where, you know, we started going to the 80s and black men didn't want to do that shit, shoveling shit, putting out barns and shit. Mexicans do that now. Or that's like picking fruit and vegetables. You're going to be in a big old field of tomatoes, picking tomatoes, and brothers don't want to do shit like that. Mexicans do because we too lazy. We don't want to do shit like that. And Mexican immigrants are so glad to be in this country. They're willing to do anything that we don't want to do. They're just trying to get in where they fit in. But see, you got a lot of black and Hispanic Trump supporters who don't realize that. You got that coon Tim Scott from South Carolina supporting Trump. Then that black congressman from Florida, Byron Donalds, kissing his ass, supporting him. And a lot of these black folks are supporting Trump, and that's not right. Trump lied to black folks, lied to minority voters, claiming that he's not racist, but we all know that he is. He only wants to get back into the White House, and he only cares about holding the power. You know, he's trying to reach out to black voters, but he knows that ain't going to ever work for him. These people aren't going to vote for him. He's just wasting his money and his time on these states, knowing it's not going to work. Because just a couple weeks ago, he went to a black church in Detroit, the campaign where the majority of the audience members were white Trump supporters. But they didn't show him. And he's trying to deceive blacks there in Detroit who's watching it at home. And I wondered how and why did this church let him in and his supporters in. That's weird. And I've seen videos on here from black male content creators saying that they were going to vote Republican because of the migrant crisis. But black people in general ain't as dumb and naive as Trump think that they are. He can't fool us because we already know he's racist. But deep down, I honestly don't think he'll ever be president again. And even though some folks are having their doubts right now, you know, especially after that Supreme Court decision on the whole immunity thing the other day, because that decision was wrong. That's basically making a mockery of the laws in this land. Like, whatever happened to no man is above the law? And it just makes the Supreme Court look weak and spineless. And there's some folks in the Supreme Court who helped plan that January 6th insurrection. They don't care that people died that day, and that's wrong. Because, you know, but because of that decision that they made, that basically means that Trump can't be prosecuted for stuff that he did while he was president, you know, within his constitutional powers, as they say. And with that, I'm like, they should have gotten that shit out of the way a long time ago. See, they're playing games with people too. And they are from July to next year, so ain't no more court case as far as Supreme Court goes. They're going to have a long vacation. But why wait till the last day to give an opinion on that if he's immune? But that immunity case, it ain't going to help Trump win the presidential election in November either, because it's going to discuss people even more. But we know his psychopath mega cult supporters ain't going nowhere. And see, stuff like that is what bothers me. It's like, you know, they let this rotten son of a bitch who ain't worthy or nothing become president again. It's like he's just an orange shit stain in the White House. He won't go away, and that's the only thing I got a problem with. And I'm like, dude, how you gonna let this fool just, you know, I'm just like racist white folks in the mega cult. Why don't y'all just wake up and realize? I mean, this just shows how nasty they really are if Trump does win the presidency. And I've seen where they just delayed his sentencing date to September, which is crazy. And I mean, because the Republicans gave this man, it's like he had 2 impeachments. You know, the first impeachment, he didn't get enough Republicans to get him out of there. Then the second impeachment, he had more Republicans on the Democrat side. And the only thing he needed was about 3 Republicans to vote Democrat to get that fool out of there to where he'd be out and gone. And he couldn't even get those folks to do that. So anything that Trump does in the future, and if he do become president again or whatever he does, you could blame it on the Republican Congress and the Senate, because they could have gotten rid of this asshole. And Trump is really the one with the cognitive and mental disability, but they're judging Biden's cognitive and mental state. But I think he just had a bad night. That's all. You know, just an off night. He wasn't feeling well at the moment. It happens to everybody. But he will bounce back again despite of his debate performance. And what the media need to do is stop focusing on the debate performance and start focusing on the job performance. Because what did Trump do during his 4 years in office versus what Biden's done during his 4 years in office? Because in that debate, all Trump did was tell lies, while Biden at least try to answer the questions and correct the lies being told by Trump. Because on a good day, Biden's still the best man for the job that the Democrats have. You know, there's folks who are concerned and they're talking about whether or not Biden should drop out of the presidential race. But his family wants him to stay in the race, as well as some Democratic voters who want to stay in the race. Because Trump's, you know, he talked all that mess trying to cheat the last election. He tried to overthrow the government, all that shit, because, you know, he lost. So, and all that shit happened. So what makes him more popular this time? Because justice should have been served to Trump a long time ago. But when he loses the election again this November, I believe it will be, you know, he'll get the message. But that's all I want to say, folks. This is Big Brother 749 signing out. I'm out. Peace.